Welcome to today's topic of how to make change easier. Change is something that we don't like to do and it's very difficult for us to do, and a lot of times we have to do it when we don't want to, or sometimes we even want to do it because we know it's going to bring us a better result, but we're still struggling with an ego that doesn't want to make the change. So today we're going to cover as what we can do to make it much easier to help us out. I'm Seqkat from Enlightenment.com, and I'm glad to have you here with me. Okay, so first we're going to cover why the ego has such a problem with the change, and then once we do that, then you'll understand what to do to make it easier, why that works. Because sometimes when somebody just tells you to do something, okay, sure, whatever, but when you understand how it works, then you're more apt and find it easier to actually do that. So what we're going to do is look at ego. Ego has two primary agendas, and its number one agenda is to survive, and the secondary agenda is to keep you out of pain as much as possible. But that number one survival one is the one that can get the ego in trouble, because what happens is what it becomes familiar with, it has learned how to survive that scenario. So even if it's in a really bad situation, if it's learned how to survive it and a better situation is offered, it will often reject that better situation, even though it looks better, because it does not know for sure if it can survive that. And the reason why it doesn't know for sure if it can survive that is because it is not familiar with it. And that is one of ego's biggest problems, is it's really attached, emotionally attached to that which is familiar. And not only is it attached to that which is familiar for that survival and like your primal instincts, surviving, physically, and then emotionally as well. And that's where you can get into that avoiding as much pain as possible. That better opportunity might offer you something much better and less pain, but it doesn't know this for sure. But also the ego's identity itself, what it has become familiar with, it has so begun to identify itself with that which is it is familiar. So that is one of the other problems, is it doesn't want to let go of that familiarity, because then the ego goes into this fear, oh, if I am no longer doing that which is familiar, then the ego, cease to exist. So if you've been following, you may have heard me use this example before, but it's very pertinent, it's very important to understand. The ego, even if it identifies itself as an abused person in the past, or to heal abuse, emotional abuse, or even in the current situation, it sometimes will hold on to that abuse because it identifies its identity as I'm an abused person. And if I heal those emotions that keep me tethered to being an abused person from the past, or get out of a situation where I'm no longer an abused person, then the ego part of this personality, ceases to exist, and that just freaks it out. So that is your biggest problem that you're struggling with when you break it down to what the ego is going through when it comes to you making a change, especially when it comes to you making a change that you want to make, like taking that better opportunity that is becoming you. It could be something as simple as getting a new job, or going into the career, or doing that which you've dreamed of and you've been working on for a long time, or you've been desiring for a long time, but you can't even take a step towards working towards it because you've got to let go of that which is familiar. And that's when you hear people talk about getting out of the comfort zone. So that is where the ego is struggling. So what do we do to make it easier on the ego to help it out? So quickly, if you've been following me, I've been going through the tarot journey, and we've come up with the Hermit Card. Now the Hermit Card invites you to go within and spend a little time meditating, connecting with your guides, connecting with your higher self, connecting with your angels, whatever your deities are. And the importance of meditation is very important, because that starts calming the ego down, because that keeps the ego from running you. So that is one of the very importances of doing that. But you can also use that opportunity to work on focusing and visualizing what you want. And now those of you familiar with the law of attraction, this is going to start ringing bells for you. So when we keep focusing, obviously, on, this is like simple ABCs to those of us who have been practicing law of attraction for years. When you start focusing on that which you want and take your focus off of that which is perpetuating that you dislike and keeping your eyes focused on the contrast, you have learned through experience, for those of you new, we can tell you those who have practiced this, that you can actually change it and shift it. And that becomes a vibrational change, because the law of attraction is like attracts unto like, so to speak. So you have to be a vibrational match to that which you desire. Now, the other thing is, though, you can use that to become familiar with that new perspective. Because remember, the ego is struggling desperately with it's wanting to feel familiar. So if you're familiar in a bad situation, what you want to do is take that time to go within and spend some time daily visualizing, seeing yourself in the situation that you most desire. And if you practice daily meditating, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, seeing yourself being what you desire or being in the circumstances that you desire, you become familiar with it. Because your mind is just a perceiver, and it does not know any difference between perceiving what we call this 3D reality of me sitting in this chair, or if I close my eyes and I picture myself walking in the woods. The mind does not know the difference, that there is a difference between sitting in this chair and walking in the woods. To the mind's record, it has walked in the woods and it has sat in this chair. And you can test yourself on this. Think about a dream that you remembered that you had that was so vivid, and you wake up the next morning, it's like, man, I had this vivid dream. And what do you oftentimes say? I really felt like I was there. And then maybe you'll see a person that day and that was in your dream, and you see them and you feel all of this familiarity with them. Like, wow, I just spent the evening with you last night. We went to this restaurant or whatever. It can be that realistic. And maybe you've been one that's experienced meeting somebody in a dream that you just bumped into them on a street, and there's all these details, and it's like, if I bumped into that person in real life, I would know who they are. Or I could tell an artist exactly how to sketch this person. Don't know who they are, but I could just describe it in such detail. It really becomes real to the mind, because the mind cannot differentiate the difference between the two. So to combat that ego freaking out with the loss of familiarity with its old that you're trying to release and let go of, its present that you're trying to release and let go of, to move forward into the future for what it wants, start sitting down, taking that time, go within, utilize that Hermit Card. Go within, clear your mind, connect with your higher self, your angels, just to clear your mind a little bit. Do a little breathing, that 3 deep belly breathings. You probably see me do these in many of my videos. Breathing in your nose and breathing it out. And as you do, you're filling your lower belly with air. And then as you exhale, you're contracting, and that just brings the ego into an alignment. You can do 2 more. Doing those right here, right now, you'll feel the difference. It's like, wow, it's amazing. It's so peaceful. It's a little bit of a cheat to pull your ego more into alignment with your higher self. And then with that, when you've calmed down, then sit there and picture what you want to be experiencing. So maybe it's a new house, or maybe it's a new vehicle, or maybe it's a new career that you're trying to go for, but you're scared to take those baby steps to get you towards those. See yourself being in that new vehicle. See yourself being in that new house. See yourself being in that new career, and visualize being there already as if you have it now. You're going to double fold bringing it into your reality this way. Because 1, you're going to be activating the law of attraction, because you're going to be bringing your vibration to a match of having it because you're practicing it. And 2, the big one, you're going to be getting your ego familiar with being in that new place. And it's going to be really easy or for it to let go of its current circumstances, or maybe your goal is to heal from past traumas. So picture and seeing yourself heal so you can let go of that identity that I'm this traumatized person from the past. So even if that is your preference, see yourself, how would you be if you were this healed person? How would you be? So this is what you can do to help yourself make those changes that you need to, or that you're desiring to, when that ego is hanging on for dear life, so to speak, for its own sake of life, to that familiarity. I hope you found this helpful. Okay guys, so that's it for today, and I hope you found this helpful, and if so, please give me a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate that. That helps me circulate my video out to others and reach more of those. And if you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm glad to have you here, and if you'd like to join me as a subscriber, I'd love to have you. So just hit that subscribe button and the bell notification so you'll know when my next Seqkat musing goes out, which is on Wednesdays. And on the first Wednesday of the month, I actually do a chakra clearing where I clear all 12 of your chakras, ground you with Mother Earth, and come back and open up your heart chakra, which really puts you into your power. And then I also do the pick a card tarot readings on Sunday. All right, guys. Until next time, much love and much light.